He's always been a horse with some quality, and coming back to 1,000, a shorter trip, the horse find a very smooth and clear run, so he showed a good potential on the line, and that was pleasant. The horse seems to be in good form, so I believe he's got plenty to offer. He remains fresh for the end of the season, which is a good thing, and I'm hoping he can repeat.
Andrea, looks to be another decent meeting coming up this Saturday. Some really competitive races. You're on the one start, Harold Wynn, who's just had the one go, but I thought it was a really good run. He's a horse who looks like he's progressing.
Yeah, for sure. He ran a very promising race on his first start. He actually jumped pretty good, and he just lost a bit of speed halfway through the race, just because of obviously greenness. And but once he sort of put himself together, he finished off quite nicely. So I sat on him a couple of times since, and it seemed that the horse has improved a little bit. He's a horse. It wouldn't surprise me if he might take another run before he actually knows exactly what to do. But like I said, he has improved, and he's got a good draw again tomorrow, so he should be competitive.
It's interesting the point you make about sort of him just needing time to gather himself together. I mean, having watched it back a couple of times, you're always sort of at him, weren't you, from halfway? But I guess you had to be impressed with the way he responded. For
sure, he gets the trip very well, and it was on his first start, so he was entitled to be a little bit green in mid-race. But once they sort of changed leads up the straight, I thought he finished off quite nicely, and he took a good blow after the race, and so it's definitely improved. But like I said, he might just take another run before he knows exactly what to do.
Yeah, he did hit the line. I think almost got up there for third. As far as the trip's concerned, I know it's still very early days, but he shapes Andrea like he might just get a little bit further. Does that complement the fact that he might just need that run and come on?
Yeah, it's difficult to tell because, like I said, sometimes just because they run a little bit green and mid-race and they finish off quite nicely, the first thing that comes to your mind is step them up in trip. But there's a very good chance the horse has sharpened up from his first run. He will definitely get a little bit further, but I think 12 is good again.
He's got a decent draw, gate number 4, that, and also he's got the addition of a cross noseband. Did you have much influence on that?
I didn't. They obviously decided to put a cross noseband, which I think definitely has helped him. He doesn't do anything wrong, just sometimes he can be a little bit keen, a little bit aggressive, but like I said, now that he's got a cross noseband on and I sat him twice, he's definitely a lot better. He's a lot more relaxed, and it just gets him to do the things the right way around at home anyway. And but yeah, hopefully he'll do the trick tomorrow.
Zach, a few nice rides coming up on Saturday's Twilight meeting for you. One of them certainly looks to be co-partner PRANCE, who's been in good form around Happy Valley. Returns to Sha-Tin, but what he's been doing at the city circuit has been quite impressive.
Yeah, he's continually got better there. He kept raising the bar. He's had to carry a big weight a couple of times and just seems to keep getting the job done. But he comes back to Sha-Tin where he hasn't won a race yet, and he goes up in grade. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles the bigger circuit.
I know we've spoken about him in the past, and I think you sort of made comment about him not being sort of fully furnished. How do you feel he's getting there now with the experience?
He just seems to be getting a little bit better all the time. He's not progressing at a rate of knots, but just seems to keep doing enough. And I suppose sometimes you can sort of beat the handicapper a little bit in that regard, although he's sort of been getting enough points to warrant the victories he's been having. But yeah, he's not doing anything flash, but he just keeps getting the job done.
Interesting you mentioned the points. I think he's gone up 30 pounds since you've been on for the 4. I know you've never ridden him around here. What is it you think that sort of has improved in him? I know Francis sort of tweaked the headgear with him. Is it just a case that he's just maturing now?
Yeah, I think it is physically. He seems a little bit stronger. Mentally, he's still a little bit of a work in progress, but he's done a good job. You can't complain with the effort he's been putting in, so hopefully he can just transfer that back here.
His effort has been very good. I guess the others will have to really put in a bit of effort, because looking at it, as far as the trip's concerned, Zach, there are a few in here that are real suspect 1,200-metre horses, and it's quite an interesting race, really, because it's over the 6 furlongs, but there are a number in here that would prefer it over 5.
Yeah, there's nowhere to hide, though, in Class 2. All these horses can gallop. They get here for a reason, so it's still not going to be an easy task for him, but if he can just get into a nice rhythm in the race and give himself a chance, he's shown at Happy Valley that he's been strong to the line, and if those horses are a little bit suspect, it'll play into his hands a little bit.
The Jockey Championship we know is comfortably wrapped up for yourself, it would seem. As for the trainers, though, that looks like a bit more of an interesting contest. You and Francis have always had a good strike rate together. His horses now, towards the end of the season, really are starting to blossom, aren't they?
Well, he's been blossoming all season, and for the previous few seasons as well. He's been doing a great job with all his horses, and every time you think they've probably just reached their mark a little bit, he seems to get another 1 or 2 wins out of them. So he's been doing a really good job. It's a good stable to be riding for, and you know, it's going to be interesting to see how these 2 trainers go over the remaining meetings.
Zach, Stunning Peach is your ride in race number 8. He's only had a couple of starts, and well, he had to do it a little bit tough last time, but for a 3-year-old colt with top weight, he ran a nice race.
It's a really big ask for him to do what he's doing at the moment. He's really, you know, only a 2-year-old, and he's very lightly framed, and he's had to carry top weight at both his starts, and he struck a wet track at his first start, which I don't think suited him, fitness-wise, and having to carry the big weight and the tempo of the races here in Hong Kong all just went against him. But he tried hard, and then he got onto a bit of a dry track last time, and with the benefit of a run, he was able to carry the weight a little bit more comfortably, and I expect him to keep improving. You know, he's a long way from being the finished product. He's going to be a better horse in 6 and 12 months' time, and he's a stayer. So his light frame, you know, is going to come to the fore as he gets up over a bit more of a trip. But he's certainly a promising horse, and I like what he's been doing so far.
He is going up in trip, as mentioned. I mean, he was placed in the Group 1 as a 2-year-old over 2000, so I guess there'd be no qualms, no worries about the trip with him at all.
Yeah, it's not going to be a problem. It's just a matter of, you know, he's such a small, little, immature young horse having to carry top weight. It's a really big ask for him, but he's genuine, and I expect him to be competitive again.
You pulled the colours on in Japan of the connections of the horse that beat him last time. Obviously, he's a pretty useful one, isn't he, Voyage Samurai? So the form certainly is there as well on paper.
Yeah, he's a progressive horse, Voyage Samurai. He's got a good winning record, and he was good off the front last time, and you know, the form around him is solid. So he's a good measuring stick, and you know, we go up in trips, so hopefully my bloke just gets into a bit more of a rhythm, and that will help him as well.
Just finally, not much of him, but Gate 2, obviously a good place to be as well.
I'm not going to have to bustle him to be anywhere. He can just find the spot that he's comfortable in. He's shown at both his starts. He's got some gate speed, which is a little bit unusual for a European horse, but he seems to have adapted to the place here quite quickly, and I think it just illustrates how intelligent he is.
Mark, a couple of really nice runners for you on Saturday's Twilight card. I thought one of them was in race 9 with Mission Voice. The addition of the blinkers certainly worked for him last time.
Yeah, it did. Look, he's always shown a bit in his work, but I just wanted to wait till he had a few runs under his belt before we put them on. And it certainly had a positive effect, and riding him on pace helped as well.
There's plenty of him, Mark. He's a big sort of boy, isn't he, really? And has he always just been that little bit backward? Yeah,
look, I had him in my stable in Sydney too for preparation before he came here, so he was always going to need a little bit of time. But no, it's starting to come together, towards the end of the season, and I'm sure he'll be better again next year.
You've got Luke Ferraris on board once again. Obviously, he rides Plentiful for your stable. He's galloped him, I noticed, with the blinkers. What was the feedback there?
Yeah, Luke's very positive about the horse. He's liked him all the way through. It's just a matter of getting him to his right distance and getting the blinkers on to, get a result with him.
The run last time, obviously I mentioned the blinkers worked. I mean, they didn't work probably as well as you would have hoped because he was second, not first. But he had to give £7 to the winner, so I guess you could certainly upgrade the performance a little too.
Yeah, and it was a race that the on-pace horses, he was the only one that stuck on. So it was a good positive sign that he was able to, grind it out, whereas, the horses that shared the speed with him dropped away. That toughening run now, getting him on pace tomorrow, I think he'll be in the finish.
Was the plan always to step back up to the mile as well? Yeah,
absolutely. I think, he's a horse that's going to be at his best probably a mile to 2,000. And now that he's had that conditioning, I think, it's a nice race for him.